There's something right now when it comes to Zebic, which I would actually consider to be amazing news. Now, even though nothing I say is financial advice, what is that? Not too long ago, it was announced that ZBCN is officially, listing on Kraken. And Kraken is pretty famous, right? And of course, this is considering how trading does begin on October 15th, 3 p.m. UTC. But even besides that, why do I think this is pretty amazing? Because when I take a look at Kraken, according to CoinMarketCap, in terms of top spot exchanges, it's currently ranked number 14 in the world. Now, some people may be thinking, oh, it's not even top 10 and all this. Well, that's still pretty impressive considering the stiff competition that it has. And I think this does bring more exposure to something like, Zebic, of course, because if, let's say, I don't know what a project is, how can I know what it is? You know what I mean? So I think that in the grand scheme of things, this does bring more exposure. And of course, we already kind of know what Zebic is planning to do when it comes to the UEFA, the soccer thing, so to speak, right? I don't really watch soccer, but I think that's a pretty big deal as well. And I actually talked about that in one of my previous videos. But even besides that, on top of that, we see something like this. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Zebic has been proving me wrong in a good way, in a sense where when I first believed in, ZBCN, sure, I thought maybe hypothetically it could do something, but fundamentally, wow, I mean, the team really treats it seriously. I was not expecting them to treat it this seriously. I was expecting them maybe to treat it somewhat seriously, but they're actually treating it like really like a long-term thing. They're putting a lot of effort, it feels like to me. So I just like what I'm seeing. And again, when it comes to Zebic, initially what attracted me to it was that when it comes to the Solana aspect, of course, I'm a fan of that because I like Solana as a layer 1 blockchain. And also I was a fan of Zebic, having backers such as Solana Ventures and Circle, which is the creator of USDC, the stablecoin. So I like that vibe as well. But then this type of stuff is just like the cherries on top, so to speak, right? I just like what I'm seeing here. And when it comes to Zebic, keep in mind, I think better days are still ahead because if I take a look at XDC, which I think is arguably its most famous competitor, beyond something like Ripple and Stellar, which of course is not going to overtake that. So XDC, I think, is its most popular competitor, so to speak. But besides that, again, for instance, XDC has an aspect of ISO 20022. But then Zebic is actually working towards ISO 20022 compliance. So it's kind of reaching up there. And again, market cap of ZBCN is pretty massive currently. It's in the hundreds of millions. We take a look at XDC, market cap is slightly over $1 billion. ZBCN's kind of heading up there. If I had said to a lot of my friends out there who believed in XDC like a year ago, for instance, that, oh, maybe ZBCN could kind of catch up to that, a lot of my friends wouldn't really believe that. And ZBCN, wow, the momentum has been so amazing. And I just like what I'm seeing. Now, it's not to say that there's going to be no pullbacks along the way because who knows? The market's going to move up and down. It's going to be very random sometimes. It's beyond my control. Me being a fan of a project doesn't mean it's going to do good. But so far, I just like what I'm seeing with what ZBCN has done, and I like the recovery because, keep in mind, a lot of altcoins out there, the recovery hasn't been good, actually. ZBCN's been pretty okay considering how it's not a mainstream project, considering how it's not that popular in the grand scheme of things, and it's been able to do this so far. I just like what I'm seeing. Now, when it comes to the idea of 10 cents, it's still on my mind because, again, I just take a look at the momentum when it comes to Zebic, right? I take a look at the popularity, or should I say the increasing popularity. I take a look at the increasing exposure as well. I just like what I'm seeing. And it's not like 10 cents is anything that groundbreaking or something like that. This is just, my point of view, though. But 10 cents at that point, current circulating supply market cap at that point would be around 9 billion. This is not 90 billion. It's not 50 billion. It's not 30 billion. Again, it's still less than 10 billion at that point in terms of market cap. Like, it's nothing too groundbreaking, right? Not to say that it is anything like small in the grand scheme of things because 9 billion in and of itself is actually pretty massive. But if I kind of consider how that isn't even 5% of 200 billion, which, XRP reached around that market cap not too long ago, again, I just don't think it seems that ridiculous, but only time will tell. Now, it's around 19x from here, so it's neither going to be the worst hypothetical upside nor the best, in my perspective. But I'm not looking for 100x anyways. I'm not looking for like a 500x or something like that, so I don't mind. I'm not looking for a microcap. But then if I take a look at, for instance, something like Bitcoin, right? Going to 300 grand from right now, that's less than a 3x from here. Ethereum going to 10 grand is also less than a 3x from here. Now, it's a testament to how well they did, but just, I just don't maybe see them as something that would excite me, right? I mean, less than a 3x doesn't really excite me. Even if I take a look at Solana, I mean, is that going to do around a 19x in the next 5 months, hypothetically? I don't know about that. Solana has a very massive market cap. But yeah, besides all that though, I am still a fan of Zebic because I like the strides they're doing. I like what they're doing when it comes to the Zebic cards. I like what they're doing when it comes to AI-based PayFi, when it comes to payrolls, when it comes to RWAs, or should I say real-world assets. I like what they're doing as well when it comes to, their focus on the education market when they acquired something called Science Card UK. And just overall, also their general focus on payments and global trade and finance. I just like what I'm seeing. I think it's a very complete project, actually, in the grand scheme of things. I think that it's not focused on too much, but it's not focused on too little either. So I like the balance in between there. And ultimately, I'm going to stay patient. And this is what I've been doing the entire time anyways when it comes to ZBCN. I was just dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. And that was pretty much about it. So all I can do is wait for ZBCN to do something. Now, it's already done quite a lot, actually, ever since I started holding it. But that next leg up, I'm still waiting for that. So I'm just staying patient, and that's about it. Now, some people like to say, oh, why don't you pull up a price chart and try to figure out the best time? Even if I did that, I'm not going to find the best time. It's not possible for me to do that because the market is not going to care what I do on a price chart, right? Sure, I can take a look back in history. I can do this, I can do that. But again, whatever happens moving forward, that's beyond my control. Like, I cannot affect this in any way. It cannot affect the markets in any way whatsoever. Literally the only thing I can do is stay patient and just wait. And whatever happens, it happens. That's my point of view, right? And I kind of knew that getting into it. So that's what I'm going to still do. But just nonetheless, I wanted to make a video on Zebic because I just kind of feel like this news about Kraken was very impressive, right? In and of itself, I think it's pretty amazing. And it just kind of felt like it came out of nowhere, but I like seeing that. And again, Zebic continues to prove me, I would say, wrong in a good way, because I didn't expect them to do this type of stuff this fast and this amazingly. But they did, so I do like what I'm seeing there, and moving forward, I'm still very excited. And I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it, and also feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate that as well. And it's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.